What's the most fucked up thing someone has ever said to you? She was my first relationship, so I think being so young it kind of made an imprint in my head and set a precedent for future relationships. I was able to recently end things with a guy who said very similar things as well. You make it difficult to love you. You'd think I'd be able to recognize the pattern, but he definitely excelled in manipulating, hiding his true character, and making himself very charming to get me to stay. He truly scared me, much more than her. I'm sorry you also had to go through something like that. It's insane to me that people are able to say things like that to anyone, okay with making them feel like they're the crazy ones and actually take joy in saying hurtful things. Just glad I'm not that heartless. My ex has done the same kind of thing. She keeps texting me now and trying to win me back to be friends with me since me and her stepsister found out she's sending nudes to people while dating her current boyfriend. They may have broken up because another one of her exes I'm friends with found his number and told him. Wanna know how she's manipulative? https://imgur.com/a/smoke. I started out by grilling her. She ended up making me feel sorry for her. I found out that the rape she's talking about never happened. I have an ex who loved to wind me up and push my buttons. I'm not a jealous guy, nor an abuser, but I can have a short and sharp temper. So in this situation I was trying not to react and then lead to drama, but this fucker likes drama and wants to escalate things. I honestly think she wanted me to thump her as she would try to make things physical and then I had to restrain her. But I would not lay a hand on her ever. It got quite bad and she showed me some text messages she had from another guy that was clearly trying to get in her pants. Also trying lied about a house this guy, at her work, had bought, making out it was more value than the one we had just bought. As if I gave a shit. Well, eventually all that crap backfired. I got rid of her and bought out her meager share of the house. I have no idea what happened after that. I would not be surprised if she fucked him out of spite. The guy had a family too, kid on the way, etc. She cheated on me as well. Except she denied it. The only reason I know is because the other girl sent me an email detailing everything and every time it happened. When I confronted her, she started crying and saying she was lying, though I knew it was true because all the times she would be texting this girl. 5 years is a long time. She doesn't deserve to be living rent-free for that long in your head. Admittedly, it took me about 3 years to get over my ex, so I get it. It takes time, but I hope you heal soon. I'm so sorry. When I was at a party, and a bit drunk, I went to the spare bedroom to rest for a while. What my friend didn't realize was that the walls were thin, and so I heard her encourage a guy to go in and rape me. Since I was unconscious, she thought, and a virgin, and apparently so was he. He didn't, and they all pretty much ignored her remark. I left out a window shortly after that and walked home. I've never felt so betrayed by a friend before or after. Some people are just shit. Wasn't by me, but I was there and somewhat a part of it. My stepbrother and his latest GF were over for dinner. Partway through they have a big something they want to talk about. Okay, we figure they're getting married. This would be like the third in that many years, but sure, he goes through this is the one GFS so fast I honestly stopped trying to remember their names. My stepmother is one of the nicest people you will ever meet, nearly endless patience, and always willing to go out of her way to help people. She's lent him a lot of money in the past, and I have no idea if he ever paid her back for all his failed business ideas. I only remember instead of giving her samples he made her buy them. Anyways, so the big announcement was the most fucked up thing I have ever heard. They gave a big, long speech about how far it is to drive to visit my stepmom, dad, and that they wouldn't be bringing their grandkids anymore unless she gives them $15,000 to buy a new car as they didn't feel safe anymore. Despite both of their current vehicles having enough room, being in good condition, and being able to make the drive just fine. If my father and I wanted to pitch in, that would be great too. My father had to leave the table. Pretty sure I just sat there at a loss for words, while my stepmom just paused and started talking about something else. Not me, but this one takes it. In high school, One of my classmates' dad died at the start of the year. All the teachers knew as he'd talked about it and been absent over it. Fast forward a few months and the kid handed in sloppy homework as the teacher called it. Then, he made a point of, in front of class, saying your dad would be embarrassed. Kid just got up, picked up his things and walked out. Pretty sure we all universally hated that teacher after that. When I was a sophomore, my school got a new principal. She was a loathsome toad of a woman who tried to take away or stop every fun event, tradition and holiday celebration we had, amongst a host of other things. The student body hated her. The adult staff were pretty mad about her. Then my classmate's father committed suicide. We all found out when the principal got on the intercom system and announced to the entire school that classmate's dad blew his head off and killed himself. You have never seen an entire school, students and staff, come together, united as one in utter fury and hatred, like my school did about 30 seconds after that announcement. I honestly don't know how that woman was even able to continue working there after that. The amount of hatred and contempt for her should have smothered her the moment she entered the building every morning. I've had leukemia a couple of times and my then wife looked at me during an argument and said these words, "I hope this cancer eats you from the inside out, and that no one is by your side when you die." I was so stunned I just turned around and went to the bedroom and went to sleep. The next morning she literally said, "I'm sorry I said those things last night, but you know how angry you get me." I left the next day and never looked back. It was 12 years of hell with her and I stuck through it to be around my kids, but at that moment I knew this had to be it or I'd never get out. The last conversation I had with my ex-wife, she all but confirmed she was deliberately pushing me towards suicide. She was studying psychology to become a counselor, so she knew exactly what buttons to push and how to exploit my mental health issues. Years of mental abuse, emotional abuse and gaslighting suddenly made sense. ETA, well, this went a bit nuts. Thanks everyone. I'm in a much better place and amazingly enough in the past few weeks met a rather nice lady who things seem to be working out with. In college I studied journalism but I had to take a required PR class. We had to keep these journals about our thoughts about news events for some reason, and I was trying to be thought-provoking and so I wrote about this theory about why college students tend to be apathetic about the news. It had to do with the insular nature of the college campus. It was probably bullshit, but I was writing about a theory I had. The professor ripped it apart and then ended his scribbling with, "I find it hard to believe you will succeed at anything, much less journalism." I went on to write for ESPN, so he can kick rocks. I had a philosophy professor who consistently said my papers were boring and sounded plagiarized, but he couldn't find examples, until my last one when I completely pulled it out of thin air, spent no time or thought on it and said fuck it and fuck that guy. Only a he ever gave me, along with "now this is an original thought and ideas and I would be interested in hearing more." No thanks, asshole, you managed to completely ruin my interest in one semester. I shan't waste any more of your precious time. I love your brother more than you. My own mom trying to justify why I was treated like shit and why my older brother got away with things. Edit. Context. I was around 13, I am 23 now. At the time I already had a pretty shitty relationship with my mother growing up and she basically confirmed favoritism and more love for my older half brother, 4 years older than me. During an argument, she basically tried to convince me crying that she had to love him more than me because his biological dad left him. But it didn't hurt any less since I was already treated pretty poorly and this was just the final nail. I don't see what the big deal is. What, you're going to kick my ass because your sister puts out, from the man who sexually assaulted my sister when he was 40 and she was 13. Edit. I'm adding this for the people who hope I kicked his ass. No. Actually I didn't. There was no good outcome. My parents said that my sister decided to not press charges and I was making it worse. I don't speak to them often anymore, for this and a variety of reasons. If I'd attacked him, I'd go to jail for assault. So instead it's just something I have to live with the knowledge of. But even worse, she has to live with it. She will always have the scars from it, and the only outlet I have is to give her love and support to try and get through it. When my husband and I first got married, 1980, he was in graduate school and got an annual stipend of $3,500, so I was the primary breadwinner. My boss knew this, although I didn't know it at the time. My boss regularly fired anyone in my position after a year. I lasted 2 years, but at the end of that time, she came in to give me my annual evaluation. She rated me outstanding across the board, but then informed me that she was not renewing my contract. Then she patted me on the head and said, "I want you to know that it's nothing personal. If I had a daughter, I'd want her to be just like you." I was being bullied by my entire class, about 30-something odd people. The principal's response to this was to sit everyone down during PE, during my largest anxiety-giving class might I add, and spent 30 minutes telling everyone how I'm the example of what not to be. Changed schools that week, and in that week, I had my shoes stolen, my hair cut by a jock running around with clippers, had my book set on fire in the street, had my lunch slammed into my head, was stabbed too, pencil. Went for the kidney and missed. I will never forget that. The entire school became my nightmare, and after years of therapy I can at least talk about it now. Mom had a shitty drunk boyfriend for years when I was a kid. When they broke up he told me it was all my fault. I knew he was wrong and an asshole, but it kinda fucked with my head for a few years. Crap role model. But I kinda looked up to him and respected him for a lot of things. I saw him as an adult as I was leaving a bar with a buddy and he was entering. "Remember me? I'm the kid who you blamed for your being a worthless piece of shit who couldn't maintain a relationship." He just turned around and left at the door. "Fuck you, Chris, you old cunt." My ex finished our relationship after 15 yactoseconds. To me it was out of the blue. 5 days later my best friend told me that you should be over it by now, as I'm sobbing my heart out to her. To her I should have been able to mourn and grieve my 15-year relationship in just 5 days. Turns out he was cheating on me with her. Edit, jeepers. I certainly didn't think this would have blown up like it has. Thank you, internet strangers, for your kindness, love and support. Thank you for my awards, and thank you for making me take the time to reflect on what I've achieved these past 2 years. It's been hard, but I'm coming out the other side. I'm even starting a degree in criminology this autumn. 41 and no qualifications to speak of. It'll be a struggle working 5 days a week and doing the degree, but you know what? I'm worth it. My son's worth it. And you, my lovely internet strangers, are all worth it too. 20 years back, worked at a hotel that often had movie crews and some talent staying while they filmed locally. I was like a 17-year-old girl bussing tables and pouring water. These fools, guessing producers, turn to me and say, "What about you? You probably want to be famous." I stated that I always had interest in the behind-the-camera stuff, like camera or sound work. I was always the sound person for school plays. They laughed at me and told me I was too dumb to do that. I'm guessing because I was blonde. I think they were filming Species too. This is deeply relatable for me. I was repeatedly molested, raped by my kindergarten teacher, and the school counselor said she could see where she, the teacher, was coming from because I have green eyes and was pretty, for a boy. Rap culture is fucking repulsive. People are really out here looking at children, be they 5 or 15, and going, "Well, maybe it's your fault somehow." Fuck them. Your aunt is a piece of shit. You didn't do a damn thing to deserve it. You weren't asking for it. You didn't do anything wrong, and I hope you know that. You didn't do anything wrong, at all. Went for an appointment because I had just found out my second son was on the way. Doctor couldn't find a heartbeat, but scheduled me a follow-up later in the day to try again with different, better equipment. I was upset, but I worked with other monsters, so I knew they'd make my life even more hellish if I didn't go on and to work. I got to work, sat at my desk weeping, and this horrible bitch in the cubicle next to me stuck her head in and said, Your baby's probably dead and your body's gonna reabsorb it. I hear that happens sometimes. One of the most fucked up I can remember was my teacher to me, 14-15 to that time, after I've told her how my boyfriend, to that time 35, and his friends repeatedly raped me and how managed a week of no contact but how I'm scared that he'll show up at school to beat me and that I don't know what to do. You better apologize and beg him to marry you. You're still young, so let me tell you. No one wants a whore. Then on her way out of the room leaving me there she dropped a "be a good girl and be careful that you don't get pregnant from another guy. You'll never be good enough for anyone." Maybe it doesn't sound as bad as others, but it gets in my head and messed up my life. I found myself blaming myself for every little mistake, apologizing when I did nothing wrong and even trying too hard to be good enough for others. Edit. Thank you so much for the kind comments and replies. While it's nice to know I'm not the only one feeling this way, I'm also sorry that many of you guys have to deal with this feeling too. Some words really can damage us mentally and emotionally. I actually wrote a song earlier this year about not being good enough, to sort of work my way through this time. Looking forward to perform it one day when the pandemic is over. Music has always been my therapy and coping factor for many things in life, and I hope to share it with others in future. I'm feeling better slowly each day and I hope you guys will get better in time too. We found out your mother was shaking you, so we tried to get custody. Court denied us due to lack of witnesses. My stepmother, blaming herself even into my 30s for my physically abusive mother. I thought she didn't start physically hurting me until I was a tween. Nope. My childhood reprieve was so my mother could keep me from my father. Turned everything I thought I knew about my mom upside down. You should have held her in. You shouldn't have pushed, said to me by my mom after I lost my daughter because I went into labor too early. The contractions couldn't be stopped and I was telling her how at first I thought I was constipated so I kept pushing, then my water suddenly broke. WTF. I need you to pay rent, also said by my mom after I confided in her about how I felt. Suicidal. Moved away shortly after that. When I was 6 my mother married into a family that was disgustingly mean and cruel. She took me to her new in-laws' house for a Christmas party. All the kids gathered around the tree to open presents but there were none there for my brother and I. As a 6-year-old kid I asked my mom why we didn't get anything. Her new mother-in-law turned to me and said, "You don't get anything because you're not family," and stormed off. I felt awful, and what was worse was that my mother didn't stand up for me because she wanted to be on good terms with them. I had to sit there and watch all the other kids open presents while my brother and I sat there begging to go home. I never went to their house again. Had a friend of 25 years, lived with and supported him several times. Only person to even call him after his motorcycle accident. Thought we were close, talking about his marriage problems one morning at the skate park, and he turns to me and says, "You probably don't know about most of these issues because we really aren't that close, you know. We just aren't that type of friends." I was completely dumbfounded. I just looked at him for a second, said "Sure man," and dropped into the bowl. Just kept taking runs every time he started talking again. Looking back he was always an asshole, but hindsight is 20/20 right. During one of our ugly fights, my ex told me I was likely to get stomach cancer, as I kept getting low-grade fever or some malady while I was battling a very toxic LDR. While I was preparing for a tough competitive exam, he told me, "Get going, you have another exam to fail." Finally, when I was moving out of my university fellowship program to be absorbed as an adjunct lecturer at another university, he said, "In my country, even an errand boy at Macca's earn more than what dipshits like you earn in your fucking country as professors." His racism was so vile, even though he felt worth something when he came to my country, India. After 1.5 years of a very toxic and emotionally abusive relationship, and despite wanting to call it off for good despite his insistence on working through the rough ends of our relationship, I found he was cheating on me with a married woman with kids who herself carried out multiple dalliances with men, in quick successions and sometimes simultaneously. It was a very bad breakup. I was also blackmailed by both him and her, and that did wreck me emotionally, but oh God, am I thankful to have got rid of him.